Where's she been, Serene? And who am I? That's not a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. XOXO. Gossip Girl.
XOXO, Gossip Girl? But wait, who was the actual Gossip Girl? You know you love her. Or maybe him? Confused yet? Don't worry, it's gonna get crazier. Warning, spoilers ahead. Today, we're diving into the most shocking twist in classic TV shows that left us gasping, yelling at our screens, and questioning everything. Do you think you know these twists? Guess again. Nothing is ever as it seems. Or is it? Did you know Gossip Girl's finale is one of the most hotly debated TV endings ever? Years later, people are still arguing over whether it was genius or just plain chaos. The show's ultimate bombshell, Dan Humphrey, was Gossip Girl. Yes, the lonely boy from Brooklyn, the outsider who wasn't supposed to belong in the world of Manhattan's elite, was the one spilling all their secrets. For 6 straight seasons, we thought Gossip Girl was some all-seeing, shadowy woman hiding in the Upper East Side's shadows. But wait a second. Was it really that shocking? Think about it. Dan was always weirdly close to the drama, suspiciously observant, and conveniently there when the tea spilled. Remember his oddly detailed stories for The Spectator? And how did he even know half the things Gossip Girl posted? Were the clues staring us right in the face, or was the twist just too neat for its own good? Looking back, there were breadcrumbs we missed. Dan's outsider status gave him a perfect excuse to eavesdrop unnoticed. He was always writing about Serena, Blair, Nate, and Chuck as if he was obsessed because, well, he was. And let's not forget the cryptic lines and smug smirks. Should we have known all along? Fans are still divided. Some hailed it as brilliant, a poetic ending where the outsider became the puppeteer, but many argued that Dorota, Blair's loyal housekeeper, would have been a far more believable Gossip Girl. Was Dan's reveal satisfying, or did it feel like the writer scrambled for shock value? What do you think? The Game of Thrones was the most pirated show in history. Yep, people could not wait for their weekly dose of betrayal, dragons, and shocking plot twists. I know I certainly couldn't. And speaking of twists, let's talk about the one that left us all gasping, Ned Stark's death. You literally spend an entire season rooting for a noble, honorable protagonist who feels like the show's moral compass, and then, just like that, he's gone, beheaded, right in front of his daughters and a cheering crowd. It wasn't just unexpected, it was unthinkable. If you rewatch the season, the signs are all there. Ned's rigid sense of humor, his refusal to play dirty in a world that thrived on deceit, and his outright defiance of the Lannisters. It all pointed to trouble. Remember the moment he said, "When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die." Turns out, he wasn't lying. Looking back, fans missed plenty of clues. Ned's constant focus on doing the right thing makes him predictable, and predictability is a death sentence in Westeros. Even his decision to confront Cersei with the truth about her children screamed a bad idea. Of course, not everyone loved this twist. Some fans were heartbroken and questioned everything. Theories began to swirl. Should Ned have joined forces with Cersei for a bigger power play? Would the show have been stronger with him alive for the long haul? Or was his death a jarring reality check we needed to understand this brutal, no-one-is-safe world? Something to think about. They had their fair share of shocking twists, but one of the most unforgettable was that Catherine Pierce took over Elena Gilbert's body. After all the drama with love triangles, betrayal, and supernatural chaos, this twist left fans reeling. Catherine always found a way to reclaim her youth and beauty, leaving Elena trapped inside her own body. But it wasn't just Catherine's possession of Elena's body that shocked us. It was Stefan Salvatore's death. Stefan, the man every single lady out there yearned for, made the ultimate sacrifice in the final season, deciding to take the cure to save his brother, Daemon. But in the process, Stefan's death left viewers heartbroken and questioning everything. Was Catherine's possession a sign of the chaos that was yet to come? The transition was smooth, almost too smooth, with Catherine effortlessly slipping into Elena's life. But what if this was always part of the plan? Catherine had always been a master manipulator, and now she was in control of the one person who could stop her. Stefan's death, however, was even more gut-wrenching. After everything he had been through, his complicated love for Elena, his quest for redemption, he chose to die. But was it the right choice? Could the writers have given Stefan a, more satisfying ending? Some believe Stefan would find a way to come back, and others hope that Elena would somehow take control back from Catherine. The final moments of the Vampire Diaries left us with a lot to unpack. Over 13 million people watched Lost's finale. That is how desperate fans were to uncover the island secrets, and oh, there were secrets. We watched the survivors discover this mysterious sealed hatch in the ground for what felt like forever. What was inside? Treasure? Away off the island? Nope, just a bunch of buttons. Oh, and a whole lot of existential dread. But what if the hatch wasn't just about pushing buttons? What if it was about survival? What survival? They were dead all along. Looking back, there were plenty of breadcrumbs we ignored. The numbers etched into the hatch, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, were not just random. They kept showing up everywhere, from Hurley's lottery ticket to Danielle Rousseau's distress signal. And let's not forget Desmond, the guy inside the hatch, frantically pushing buttons to save the world. Maybe the hatch wasn't just a bunker, but a metaphor for humanity's constant fight against chaos. Maybe the ultimate twist in Lost wasn't just about the hatch at all. It was about how the survivors, and we, the audience, had been lost all along looking for answers that might possibly not exist. Now about that ending. Some people were scratching their heads wondering if everyone was dead the whole time. Was the island just a distraction, or did the hatch even matter to begin with? Breaking Bad changed TV forever with its jaw-dropping moments. Just like Lost, over 10 million people watched the show's finale. Fans were on the edge of their seats, dying to know what would happen to Walter White. Now let's talk about the twist that left us all speechless. Gus Fring's face-off. Up until that point, Gus seemed invincible, calculating, cold, and in control. We thought, there's no way anyone can take him down. But then, in the blink of an eye, he steps out of the room, and boom, the bomb goes off. And we're left wondering, what just happened? But was it really all that shocking? His unpredictable temper, his hidden connections, it was almost as if the show was showing us that even the most ruthless villain has weaknesses. And let's not forget the build-up to Walter White's transformation. His evolution from a mild-mannered chemistry teacher to a full-blown kingpin of the drug world was no accident. When Gus died, it was a game changer, and Walter had gone from being just a man trying to provide for his family to a ruthless player in the world of meth. His manipulation to rise to power led him straight to that shocking moment. But was it inevitable? Was there any other way that the story could possibly unfold? Was Walter White redeemed by the end? Did Jesse get the justice he deserved? Some fans were even floating alternate theories like, what if Walt had survived, or what if Jesse had been the one to end it all? What do you think? What would you have done to change the ending? The Good Place was one of the first comedies to have a mind-bending twist. People literally went crazy when they found out that it wasn't The Good Place after all. For 2 seasons, we thought we were watching a show about people who earned their way into the afterlife's best location. But surprise, turns out they were actually in the bad place the whole time. Imagine how that absolutely messed up people's minds. But wait a second, didn't we have a few clues before the big reveal? Was the twist secretly set up from the very beginning? Think about it. Eleanor's guilt, Chidi's constant overthinking, the perfect yet strange world that they were residing within. Could all of these have been signs that they were actually in the wrong place the entire time? When the twist hit, it was kind of like a bombshell. Everything we thought we knew had gone up in an instant. All those good deeds, all those laughs, all of it was just a setup for the reality that these characters had been in the wrong place the whole time. But how could the show hide such a huge secret? Eleanor was constantly questioning her worthiness, Chidi's struggles, and the whole place was always too perfect. If you ever watched the show, you know how the dissatisfaction feels all over again. The idea that people could improve and get to a perfect redemption arc felt rushed to some. There were lots of fan theories of how it could have been done differently. Should there have been more chaos? Or was this resolution exactly what the show needed? What are your thoughts? How I Met Your Mother was one of the first shows to really make us cry and laugh at the same time, especially with the twist about the mother, or should we say, the not-so-mother. The mother's death literally took the soul out of me. For 9 seasons, we were glued to Ted's long-winded tale of how he met their mother. But in the end, she dies, and Ted ends up with Robin. What? But was this twist really out of nowhere? Were there clues throughout the series we missed because we were so focused on that perfect happy ending? What if the show was secretly preparing us for heartbreak from the very start? When the twist hit and the mother died, leaving Ted with Robin, fans were left fuming. But if you go back and rewatch the show, you'll see that everything was really right there on the table. Ted's on-again, off-again relationship with Robin was a much bigger deal than we realized. The long-term happiness we thought Ted would get, maybe that wasn't really the end game after all. It's clear that Ted always held on to Robin, even while dating other people. The purple French horn, it was a constant reminder of their bond. Did we miss the clues that Ted's true love story was meant to be with Robin? The ending did have people divided. People were heartbroken by how quickly the mother's death was handled, almost entirely off screen. Others felt Ted and Robin's relationship should have stayed in the past. What are your thoughts? Westworld was inspired by a 1973 film by the same person who wrote Jurassic Park. The show really took the concept of artificial intelligence and made it a little too dark. Who would have thought that Bernard was actually a host? Imagine watching a show fully believing a character is human only to find out halfway that he's actually a robot. Maybe we were so immersed with the world of Westworld that we missed all the signs pointing to Bernard's true identity. Why did we trust him so completely? When Bernard's secret is finally revealed, it flips everything we thought we knew about the show. Was he the only host unaware of his programming? Bernard's struggle with memory loss, his obsession with Dr. Ford, and those odd reactions to certain situations really are some pretty big red flags. But we were so distracted by the bigger mysteries of the park that we overlooked the subtle clues about Bernard's true nature. Some fans were completely thrown off by Bernard's twist, and the fan theories, well, they were endless. Some argued Bernard was too human to be a host, while others thought the whole park was designed to make the host believe they were human. But could the twist have been handled differently, or was it possibly perfect? Pretty Little Liars was originally planned to be a limited series, but its addictive nature turned it into a 7-season phenomenon. And now about the twist. Well, Cece Drake was actually A. We all know how we were itching to know who this A was. But Cece being A, no one saw that coming. Who would have thought this seemingly sweet and harmless Cece was behind all of the terror? But was she really the most shocking reveal? Or were there clues, all along, that kind of pointed to her directly? Looking back, it made sense. Cece was always at the center of the drama, manipulating everyone behind the scenes. Her backstory was often overlooked, but that wasn't fully clear until the final twist. Cece's constant presence in the girls' lives, her rivalry with Allison, and her strange relationship with Jason all hinted at her connection to the dark side of the story. But we didn't want to believe it, perhaps. Of course, not everyone loved the Cece reveal. Some fans it was predictable, while others felt it was a bit of a cop-out. Some were convinced Mona should have been A, and others speculated Spencer might have been the mastermind. But perhaps maybe that's what the creators wanted. Now, before we talk about this next twist, we're going to actually talk about how Dexter's original ending was supposed to be completely different, but after receiving fan feedback, the writers decided to change their plans. Dexter, who'd been trying so hard to balance his darkness with his normal life as a husband and father, is hit with a cruel reality. In a moment no one saw coming, Rita was murdered. The fan base was left in pure disbelief. But was Rita's death really that unexpected? Dexter's constant obsession with his dark passenger, Rita's unshakable concern for Dexter's safety, and the increasing tension between him and those closest to him. All of these elements pointed towards a sad ending, but we were so distracted by Dexter's normal life that we didn't see it coming. Fans thought it was unnecessarily cruel, while others saw it as an important part for Dexter's personal growth. Many wished that Rita had been saved or maybe discovered Dexter's secret sooner. The Sopranos gave us one of the most talked about endings in TV history, a cut to black that left us all hanging. After 6 intense seasons, the final scene in the diner had Tony Soprano sitting with his family, a sense of unease in the air, and then out of nowhere, the screen goes black. But what does it mean? Was this Tony's end, or just a way to leave the audience guessing? Some say the abrupt cut was Tony's sudden death, while others argued it represented the uncertainty in his life. It could also be that the silence at the end reflects the constant tension Tony lived with, the threat of violence always looming, the fear of a hitman at his door, and the relentless paranoia. Tony's world had been spiraling. His family was falling apart, his mob life was taking a toll, and his mental health deteriorating. His decisions, especially in the final season, seemed to build up to this moment of finality. But was this the end? Or just a moment frozen in time? forcing us to consider Tony's fate. Fan theories ran wild after the final cut. Many believed the black screen was a way of showing that Tony's death was inevitable. Perhaps it already happened off-screen. Grey's Anatomy is one of the longest-running medical dramas of all time and is well known for its shocking deaths. But none hit quite like George's death, a moment that still haunts fans to this day. After everything George went through, his struggles, his complicated love life, his growth as a person, he dies most unexpectedly. And to make matters worse, it happens off-screen. But was George's death really out of nowhere? Could the writers have made George's exit a bit less heartbreaking? George had been making peace with his life in a way that suggested that something tragic was on the way. His decision to join the army, his self-sacrificial moments, all pointed to the fact that George might not make it. It's safe to say fans were devastated by George's death, especially given how beloved his character was. Theories, of course, ran wild, and many believed George deserved a happier ending. The Walking Dead's governor was originally called something else. In Season 3, Episode 3, he went by Brian Harriet to hide his true identity, not exactly the name that screams future villain. The governor, also known as the guy who looks like your friendly neighbor, rolls into Woodbury like he's the best thing to happen to humanity since sliced bread. He promises safety, stability, and of course, a good old dose of shelter from the apocalypse. And at first you're like, hey, that doesn't sound so bad. And then the fun part. Right from the pump, the show drops tiny clues that maybe, just maybe, our governor isn't as shiny as he seems. First, there's his obsession with his daughter Penny, who he keeps as a walker. Plus, he doesn't exactly shy away from some sketchy stuff to get what he wants. You just know there's more to him than meets the eye. And then, mask off. The governor is a full-blown monster. His willingness to sacrifice anyone and everyone for his own gain. Throwing prisoners into a pit of walkers for fun. By the time he's causing chaos, you're like, yeah, it was too good to be true. Looking back, you might realize that all those tiny warning signs were there from the start. The governor's ability to charm people, his leadership skills, and his seemingly protective side was just a front. Under all of that, he was already setting the stage for his big villain reveal. The governor's arc had a big violent ending when Lily took him down. The show that was all about Elliot's entire relationship with Mr. Robot. For most of the show, we believe Mr. Robot is a separate, real person leading to a group of hackers known as F Society. But then, Mr. Robot is actually Elliot's fractured delusion. But was this twist truly as unexpected as it seemed? Were there signs that hinted at Mr. Robot's true identity? Looking back, were we being subtly guided to this point? Mr. Robot literally is part of Elliot's mind, created by his trauma from the death of his father. This completely redefines Elliot's journey, and for the audience it feels like a punch to the gut because we were so invested in Mr. Robot as a real figure, and turning out it was just Elliot. It could be argued the clues were there all along, like the way Mr. Robot only ever appears when Elliot is alone, or his conversations with Mr. Robot being far more one-sided than they actually appeared. The more you think about it, the more you realize the complexity of Elliot's mind. After the reveal, some found the twist to be brilliant, praising how it added layers to the show's psychological depth. Others, however, felt that it came out a bit out of nowhere and left certain plot threads completely confusing. But what are your thoughts? And I apologize for any spoilers. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and are you ready to rewatch these shows with a fresh perspective? Do you want more mind-blowing twists? Be sure to check out our video of the darkest secrets of some classic TV shows back in the day. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you as always for watching.